Okay, we are there. Yeah, wow, to the Foundational Infrastructure Working Group on 11th of April. So we have on our agenda to go over the backlog items we have on our dashboard, and then also additional agenda points, pending merge for the quiet completion tests. So there is still one open question here from Brian. I will say that this is waiting for changes. Or does anyone know something about this when we can? Okay. This is about the SBOM. So Ruben, you request changes. There are still, I see there your comment is outdated. So you have to review again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that.
Request.
What was the comment at the bottom?
So it was about the different formats we discussed, I think.
And he said it was about 34 megs, which is not huge.
No,
There
but
is. Go ahead.
I would like at least two probably formats to be in there by default, like the Cyclone DX one would, I think, also be great to have. At least our internal tooling uses that, and I believe GitHub uses that as well. GitHub. I will look that up, but I think GitHub has an API where you can upload an SBOM so that you can do like CVE management in GitHub itself.
Yeah, sounds
and that 34 megs is probably uncompressed and probably much smaller increase to the actual size than StimCell 2. So adding more in there is probably not going to be, none of them are going to be huge, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So Ruben, do you want to comment? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll look at it, review it, and leave a comment.
Okay, then there's the one from Benjamin. Not updates yet, still in that state. Same. Yeah. So I think he said in the meeting that we will look into this. There is no comment, but I remember that Benjamin promised to also look into this one. Okay, I'll leave it like that. Maybe next time we decide to do something. This is also waiting. So is this, should we think, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say so. We've waited 2 weeks.
Now, new stuff. Add Noble to Bosch DNS runtime config. Yeah.
I think that we can just merge, right?
Yeah.
This seems certainly not harmful at this point in time, but I think there is still an open question of if this is going to ultimately work. At Bosch DNS sort of as is, there's a lot of questions around it. And it could be that we ultimately end up with sort of, hey, the runtime config has this job for these OSs, but then a different, either a different job or a different set of properties for Noble, because it might need to like disable recursors or something entirely. Just like don't recurse because systemd resolved is going to do the recursing also. So you don't want to be double recursing. But for now, this seems fine until we figure out what we're doing. Double
Yeah.
recursing is better than it not working at all.
This was more because we also forgot this last time for Jemmy, and then we were asking the whole time, why is Bosch DNS not working, and it was not installing, and so I just put it in there in here as a placeholder basically for when Bosch DNS is actually working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some work looking at options for systemd resolved and how we would deal with this double recursing problem. There's many options and they're all bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the simplest one is we just disable recursing, and like you could in theory someday rip out, 90% of the code in Bosch DNS, but like I know a lot of people use that, so a lot of that functionality as far as like, I don't know, I've seen people on GCP where the interface comes in with a particular resolver, but they're doing firewall stuff like say, oh, I don't want the 169.254 DNS server to ever be a resolver. And like if we rip that out, then it's like, well, systemd resolved isn't going to care about that preference. Although maybe the new functionality of systemd resolved makes it better because those DNS resolvers that come in via the interface do have specific search scopes. Like, hey, this is only valid if you're doing like Google.internal or something. And like systemd resolved will respect that and only use those resolvers for those domains, whereas Bosch DNS would just always try to use them, which was bad sometimes. So,
But I mean, like Bosch DNS has handlers for all that stuff, right?
yes.
Like there's a lot of overlapping functionality. Like, and if we would want to rely on the other resolver, then we would need to expose more of that configuration through the agent or something.
Possibly. Or maybe it all just works fine by default, fingers crossed. A big problem is like I didn't see, there must be, I haven't dug deep enough yet, but like there's no like, if you don't want to use the interface-based resolvers, do this. It's just like these are there and you can add stuff, but like deleting stuff didn't seem to be, there was no obvious way in the docs to delete stuff. Now there is a bunch of APIs and probably there's some way of deleting stuff, but like, does it get added back anytime the network blips? Like, how did those things get in there? It's not certainly not as straightforward as the resolve conf. Like, put files here, we'll generate everything.
Do we have issue about this in our wish list? I don't find it. I wanted just to
Possibly not.
add a to-do there that we remember to look
because it's not a wish list. There is no resolve conf anymore in Noble. It's gone. Does not exist. Not maintained. It's gone.
I can create an issue though in the Linux SimCell builder about, well, should it be in the StimCell builder or in Bosch DNS, I guess.
No, I think it's already in Bosch DNS.
Is it already there? Okay.
An issue there, but yeah, we can also create an issue here, of course, and symlink it.
There is already an issue, you say.
Yeah, your
alright.
wish list is per repo, or like a milestone. But we could also create like some sort of meta issue, and then have a list of issues in there that we like the similar thing that we did for the FIPS work, right? Then we had a like a meta issue in CF deployment, I believe. that had links to everything, because then you can do cross repo linking.
Yeah, I see. I need just to log in here. I think there is an action item right here.
Yeah, I thought there was something for it, but
Ah,
maybe not. If there's not, I'll write down sort of my findings so far in an issue somewhere.
I don't find anything.
So last week I was a little bit stuck, so I didn't do much other stuff than only trying to debug why SSH was being killed every time the second I logged in. It was a really weird error. It was basically saying, yeah, connection closed. So as soon as you logged in, so you saw the MOTD and everything, but the connection got closed immediately, and I was like, why the hell is this happening? And it seems that it's happening because there is one PAM module that has disappeared. It should be there, but it's not in a package anymore. So yeah, I haven't had any time doing.
And that was a
else.
new behavior that suddenly showed up.
Yeah, out of the blue. It's like
I wonder if it got yanked because of an XZ thing, and it'll be back soon.
I hope so. There's a lot of stuff. So CLang was removed on Monday and it's back now. There's a lot of stuff that's every time I try to, I will try to fix this, and then yep, no go. I think it's also like the whole thing is now delayed for a month or something, at least for a month. So probably.
Okay. I am merging this and then edit also an action item about creating that meta issue or issue and some. Okay, then the next one. I was wondering how so they state here on your recreate would fix the issue which does hard rotation of the Boxster CA certificate.
Check the changes real quick. I think I probably know what's going on here and could explain it. Yes. So this is using CredHub to rotate these certs. Because if you reference the cert CA, CredHub will concatenate when you're in the middle of a rotation. Whereas if you reference the CA's dot certificate, you'll never get two when you're doing a rotation. You only get the current one. So you always want to reference the certificate you care about's CA, not the CA's certificate. It should be the same thing when you're not in the middle of a rotation, but when you're in the middle of a rotation, you definitely want to do what they've changed it to here. This is never an issue for us because we never deployed Bosh with a CredHub backing it. We always use a vars store or creds file or whatever because we don't use Bosh to deploy Bosh. But if you're using Bosh to deploy Bosh and you got a CredHub there, this change is sort of required. And I would sort of assume this wouldn't break anybody except maybe my manual tooling that rotates creds on our Bosh directories. Although maybe it still works fine.
Interesting. I don't understand why we are not facing this then. Maybe Ahmed, I can assign you as reviewer because we have that use case with Bosh deploying Bosh using CredHub.
Are you using Bosh deployment to deploy it? That's another thing that's, I guess, weird about this is that like you don't use Bosh deployment to deploy a Bosh by a Bosh because it's got all that stuff in it that doesn't make sense for a regular manifest. So that's kind of weird about this. Like, it's definitely a good pattern. I don't know how this is really impacted by it because you've got all the resource pool stuff and things that don't make sense in a manifest. And unless you're generating using ops files to like rip those pieces out.
Yeah, I think there's an ops file for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
right.
yeah, there is some manipulation happening here. But I think it makes sense if someone from
Yeah, you can assign me. I can check. I hope we can still have a local blob store to check it. Yeah, I will check.
Yeah, I would think it should, because the local vars file should have both creds in it, and you never do a rotation in that file. Sort of cred hub. I mean, you could, I guess. Like Bosch doesn't really give you any help for like regenerate this and have two CAs, but like presumably you could. But it's so the base case should still work, but if instead you were using a cred hub, it should make it so that the rotation is non-breaking. Lob store server, yeah.
There's a bosh-dev file that's used to remove the networks, disk pools, and all that stuff. It's to use.
Today I learned.
It's a miss.
But yeah, we've been hunting down these sorts of things for years because they work fine until you're in the middle of a cert rotation, and then sometimes you sort of miss that they're breaking stuff. Although if you're all doing this regularly, I would think it would have come up, but could be that you're defining your secrets some other way.
Yeah, let's find out. Okay. Yeah. We have one approval for this. Do you need another one? Or this is an issue with the current release, yeah?
Yeah. This seems fine. It's just making sure stuff gets closed so you don't run out of connections.
I saw this somewhere in the Slack channel, but I keep talking about it. But
Yeah, it was a discussion last Friday. Two different issues.
Based upon what's here, I would say one review is good enough. If not, like I can review it real quick. But it's broken now, and I would assume if this is more broken, it would probably break the pipes.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Okay.
delete your branch, clean it up.
Oh, clean up. Okay. Okay, then we can jump to the issues.
We should go over these times, by the way, because there are a lot of these branches that are already merged and they're just there. We should just clean them up at some point.
Yeah. So I think there is a PR which already has been merged, but there is we forgot to.
Yeah, there was also one. It also needed to be done for Azure, but there's seemed to be an issue somewhere, and there was already a new PR for that. So Matthias was working.
Yeah, there is also a release already.
Oh, okay.
Should be. Okay.
That's something we talked about briefly yesterday during a meeting, is like, why don't these repos have auto bumping of gems, and why is everything like locked down to specific patch versions? Sort of haven't gone back to a lot of those CPIs and added auto bumping and removed the hard version locks in the gem files, which we should do at some point, but not currently on anybody's agenda, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. What is this?
We have this amazing tool that everyone relies on basically when they want to remove and I have seen a lot of package names that doesn't exist for a long time, or we should we should basically fix this generate dev tool file list, because it seems pretty important if you want to remove all the compilers, etc.
Does it just not exit on error?
Yeah, it is, but it's also this file is not maintained properly because sometimes it changes, it updates, and there is no error. So it's just like, okay, I will just accept these, and nobody is ever revising this list. Basically, it's pretty important, and it's stuck somewhere within a stage, and it hasn't been updated for 3 years. So yeah.
It feels like if this doesn't work, it should break a stem cell build so that we are forced to fix it.
Yes, but it's also because this is only the package names, and these sometimes package names, because here the CPP5, dude, that hasn't been in there since before Xenium.
Right. So it like needs to be maintained, but like if it tries to remove a CPP5 like and it's not there, it should like blow up, being like, hey, something's wrong here. Somebody should look at it, not just be like, it's probably fine.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
But this, like, isn't there a test that checks if there's libraries installed?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
which trusts this list? The list that
It
this
trusted.
file creates
No.
it is being compared to it.
No.
does the test the removal stuff or just the packages there, the base packages on the stem cells?
It will just test if some packages are removed, and
Okay.
that's it.
But yeah, it uses this list.
And we're not even removing these packages. Basically, what we're doing is from these packages, we're checking which file specific files, the SO files, I think. And that's the only thing we actually remove. We don't remove the actual package. We only remove the statics. It's already like a really strange way how we handle this. But yeah.
Does anybody know why we do that? Why we don't run? I guess we don't want to invoke the package manager on stem cell boot because it's often slow or something. I don't know.
I don't know why we didn't do this. This has been like from the back in the ages.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so that's why I say we need to or come up with a
The
new
test-
way, or we need to check how we can that we are being notified when something is changing.
But the test is it's dynamic. It does a find and it looks for header files and stuff, find libraries.
Yes, but if you don't put in the proper, if like says CPP 14 comes out and CPP 13 is being removed, and you only have CPP 13 in that list, then CPP 14 stuff will never be removed.
No, but like the test will fail because it looks for.
It hasn't, dude. I have found stuff that has not been removed for a long time, which should have been removed.
Okay, but then the test needs to be fixed.
Yes.
First the test fix and then why is the
That's
test?
why I'm
Maybe I
putting it
can,
here.
add a comment.
Yes, let me find the chat here. So this is the test that I found.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it gets it from the static library list that file that I just showed you creates. So the test it's basically
It's a perfect test.
it's a perfect test. The source is not probably doing anything.
Can never fail.
Okay. Okay.
It checks if it's a superset, right? So the found libraries should all be included.
That's correct. And who creates that static library lists where we get all those things from?
No, it's comparing the found libraries, the ones that are actually found on the stem cell.
that is
And
found.
all of those need to be
that-
included in that list. So if
That
you
is
get
found by that script that I just showed you. And if you don't put in the proper package names, the static library list will never be the ones that you actually need, because there are static library lists. There are libraries in there that are not installed, or not the newest one are not installed. And these sometimes, so most of the times the directories will never change, because there will always be like GCC / or something. There will always be a symlink to the newest version. But since Jammy, I have seen, and Noble, I have seen that they also change the directories. So most of
it's just doing
some
a
of these
find.
libraries will never be picked up, because they will never be in the list.
It's looking for all the files in the file system that end on the .a, right? In this test.
Not how I have seen it work, but it's okay. I could be
Let's see.
totally wrong. I could be overlooking some obvious other stuff that has been, but for me, this was like, it's weird.
It's
Yeah,
at least
thought-
weird that we're referencing things that are no longer relevant. Like we should delete things that don't exist from this thing.
That makes sense.
I also put a note to check the test. Okay. This is in state pending review discussion. Okay. Yeah, we don't have any new. The last meeting was 4th April. So
Oh yeah, that first boot, I have not looked at that for.
there was some activity here. Yeah, okay.
That was the last meeting.
Guess who talked about Deutschland?
So for now, I think we should just keep run it on there, but Monet and the agent will be started by systemd and be monitored by systemd. We just keep the run it package there. Oh, we're already on a new as for the different issue.
Yeah, it means that we will have more divergence between Boschlight stem cells and other stem cells, correct?
No, if we remove our unit, no, there is not a single Bosch release that will start, because they all rely on the the binary that's packaged with our unit.
But I mean, we will still use Runit on Warden because we don't plan to use systemd in Warden stem cells.
No, we want to, but currently there is a way of.
We can never use systemd in Warden. Systemd can't run in Warden, but I think that the Warden stem cells already started in a different way anyway. So there's already divergence there. We just need to make sure we don't break it.
Yeah,
Alright.
If we end up
discussed
changing
this.
Yeah, but it's also for the normal stem cells, because we can't. We thought of maybe we can change the binary and just symlink it to another thing that we can use. Like you have system CTL run, which can run as a specific user, which the other tool is actually doing, but they have totally different arguments for how to execute it. So yeah, that sucks. And to make a wrapper around that would make debugging a horrible experience, I think. But yeah.
Look at packaging only that particular binary ourselves.
Also a possibility. But for now, run it is still needed for Warden as well. So I was like, it's just a package. It's default in the default universe of Ubuntu. So I thought, yeah, it's just a package that we keep. It's not that big. We want to get rid of it, but we can't.
Okay, regarding the agenda, yeah, yesterday we saw that our working group page in the community repository is not updated with the latest meeting notes, links, and Zoom.
Is heading going somewhere?
Hmm?
Notice the heading anchor in there. Should that be there?
Yeah, most probably not. Can we check this?
I mean, it will probably work, but I don't know if it at some point will be that you always end up in the middle of the document.
Yeah. Somehow I didn't install this. Okay. And we can. Yeah, it works. Okay, I will just commit for your information. I think, or not. I got already approval. Thanks. Okay, we have another agenda point. Stem cell now published to GitHub as packages.
So we did that. Somebody did, not any of us, I don't think, did that work to make the agent have a compile command so that you could use a Docker container to compile a BOSH release using the agent as a CLI. That sort of depends upon you having a stem cell Docker image. So we added to the stem cell publisher. When we publish a stem cell, it will publish, basically it extracts the image from the Warden stem cell and pushes that to GitHub, GitHub's Docker registry, which is a thing. And they can be found under the BOSH Linux stem cell builder, has a list of packages now. So that you can use that rather than having to sort of build the Docker image yourself.
Would be good to maybe have that somewhere on BOSH.io and their stem cells.
Yeah, we'll because we documented the compile stuff already. We'll document. I'll add some documentation to that too. Make a PR for that. Also, GitHub's container registry is weird. All of the containers that you push are part of the org. So github.com/Cloud Foundry has all of the container images in it. And then after they're pushed, you can then associate a particular one with the repository, and then they show up into that repository. It's this weird disconnected world. Like, it looks fine after you're done, but you can clearly tell their object model was like, these were two very different teams. Did not communicate.
It looks kind of like what you're used to from Docker, right? Like,
yeah,
and yeah, Docker doesn't have the org repo thing, so you just have repos, right? Or you have user. No, you do have user and repo.
Users.
Oh yeah, it's user and repo. Yeah, so you don't have an org.
also the container registry endpoint is like ghcr.io because apparently we can't type like containers.github.com. Like, I don't know. Got to make it 4 characters or less.
Yeah, no, even want it to
But
fit
it costs
in the
money.
tweets.
Each letter costs money.
That's true. ASCII Preservation Society in full effect.
So I added an action item. Joseph, I heard that you what?
Yeah,
Looks
that
like
seems
it,
right.
Already has been downloaded 2 times.
Yes, that was Concourse after it did the put, and that was Chris when he tested to make sure he could pull it. We were excited. We're like, oh, 2. Wait, hold on. That was us, and that was Concourse.
Is there
It
any-
is. So we
Yeah.
we tested this as a separate job on the publisher pipeline, sort of consuming stuff, and then after that worked, we deleted the job and moved it as a task in the publisher. It happens before anything else. So if it does fail in Xpublish, it'll fail before sort of anything else gets published. But we think we're pretty confident it'll work because we tested it as a separate job. But something to keep out for next time we hit the publish stem cell button.
Cool.
Yeah, Ramon, do you want to ask something?
No, I have nothing. I had a really annoying week, so it's like I already complained a lot, so
Yeah.
I have
Is
something
there-
on my side.
Mhm.
So regarding the Swift. So regarding the Swift, so the OpenStack object store, we were trying out the S3 CLI last week, and we managed to use it for the put, get, and exists and delete methods, but it did not work out for us with the signs method. So it's not working, and we need the signed URLs. We use it, and now we were thinking how we should go forward. If we should then go now with like the other Yast providers with a separate CLI, or we just want to bring that to discussion as well.
Do you know why it fails? Like with these things, isn't maybe we should just like expose another property? I don't know, like how different is the signing? Or does it, or is it not supporting signed URLs at all in the compatibility mode?
I
I think
Go ahead.
no, we did not know why it did not work. So with S3 it works, but with OpenStack not. But what did you remember? Maybe.
I remember. I don't think it was with. It might have been with OpenStack. I know we've had reports of signing not working with S3 compatible blob stores. That was years ago. It wouldn't shock me if it were still true, but I know some of it had to do with the like V2 versus V4 signature. I don't know if anybody ever got it working, but yeah, like, I mean, if there's some way of making it work with the CLI, even if we have to modify the CLI, the S3 blob store CLI, like that would be great. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, it seems like we have no options other than adding a new CLI.
But like, does it even support signing? Like, does
Yeah.
Swift support?
It has a sign
URL?
method, yes. Yeah.
Okay, the ask is to get a better understanding why it doesn't work and then decide based on it whether we can do something or not.
we
Okay,
already
yeah.
have like CLI for almost all the IaaSes currently, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That is why I was thinking, do we go this way or do we go more into the direction, since that's the only yes, which does not happen.
We don't want it, but
I could not find any mention of sign in here, at least.
no, but OpenStack was always like S3 compatible, so it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just Google Swift pre-sign URL, something comes up in the amplify.aws Swift SDK. I don't know what that is.
I only get iOS development stuff when I search for Swift. I think Swift is no longer Swift.
Yeah, my link was actually AWS stuff, I think.
I mean, we can basically copy the source code and replace the sign method with something called Swift temp URL from the OpenStack. That was, yeah.
I mean,
Mod.
it wouldn't, if it's a small enough change, adding a config variable to the CLI config seems fine, right? Like, oh, use Swift compatible signing for block store actions. Like, that's way less work and long-term maintenance than a whole separate CLI. If it's just, you know, this one thing, that like 100% seems like the right thing to do. You know, if it's like, oh, it's like half the things don't work, and it's like, well, maybe we want a new CLI rather than a whole compatibility mode.
Yeah, what I'm concerned about, the Swift compatible API, isn't that like listening or on a different port or something, right? So if there's no method available there, then yeah, you will have to create your own CLI.
There's
I
no
think the
method
method
available
sign is there. I think the method sign is there, yeah.
But on which API? In the compatibility mode, or is it in the on the Swift API? Is it on the Swift API or the Swift S3 compatible API? There's two, like Swift exposes two APIs, I believe.
I have to ask my my colleague who worked on that. I can check.
Because that link that I just shared,
Continued.
that's about the compatibility mode, and that doesn't expose anything related to
sign.
To sign.
There is nothing.
But the CLI does provide this temp URL. This is let me send it here also.
Right. Well, generating a signed URL is not an API event. It's a local cryptographic thing that you generate. So you shouldn't have to talk to Swift to generate one. But if Swift has a way, Swift has whatever on earth this page is. But there shouldn't be an API for generating that URL. That's like, I'm going to sign this with these things and then here using the local creds, I think.
No. You're not putting it's not derived from your local creds, is it?
You don't have to talk to AWS to sign a URL. The current blob store doesn't do that, I don't think. I think it uses the creds and I don't know, math? I don't know.
Interesting.
I thought you get back with sign URLs when you put a bot to get back.
I think AWS does have something to either generate or check sign URLs or something, but I'm almost positive you can do it locally. I think we do that in several spots.
I think we use the one from AWS, not locally.
Oh, really?
If I remember correctly, I have to double check, but I think we're using the one from AWS.
I might be totally wrong, and you can't generate
for AWS, but for yeah. But
I might be confusing it with like the DAV blob store signed URLs, but I don't know. Somewhere we definitely locally generate signed URLs.
But I can
probably
check
local blob store.
Sometimes I feel like that this call is more like it's like this dinner table thing where you're like one kid tells something and then another kid tells something even more wrong, and then like it escalates from there, right? Like yeah, there's a lot of like wisdom being shared here, unverified wisdom,
and that's why.
I wonder why we have more views than the TOCO always. Maybe this is the reason. Okay.
That
Oh,
means we check if we can do it with like the config parameter, right? If not, then we have another way, right? That is
Mhm.
the outcome. Okay.
anything else?
No, I need to leave. So
We can still continue
else.
with the
You
call.
can still
or-
continue. You can
We
have a
like
whole,
that you are leaving. We all have to go.
have a whole recorded thing.
We just wanted to make your week great again.
Ah, okay. Well, you did a good job. I will go cry in a corner now.
Okay, then see you next time and enjoy the day,
Yeah.
morning,
Thanks,
evening.
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.